Oh, hello, everyone. We're here together for our practice Sunday mornings with Sun and Moon Yoga Studio through YouTube. And my name is aLex. So happy to be with you today. I'm just noticing that these flowers, the azaleas, catch the pink Buddha bank back there very nicely. Coordination. Thank you for joining me and making this time to um, plug in. It's very special to me to be able to be here weekly with you and provide this service. And it's a joy to me to do and a benefit to me as well. So do check out our offerings online, the offerings listed online on sunandmoonstudio.com. We've got in the real, in present bodies at our studios in Northern Virginia, in Arlington and Fairfax, and lots virtual, like this offering, and Jackie's meditation is on Zoom on Friday mornings. Many of the classes are either in Zoom or in person, so check it out, and, yeah. So let's arrive and center as we continue to explore the value of, naming what we're experiencing and getting super granular with what we see. The image that I selected for my thumbnail today is a is a photo of these irises in our yard that bloomed. I transplanted them a couple years ago, and they bloomed this year, not last. Anywho, you can do on our phones, you can select a mode where it highlights in on the iPhones, it's called portrait mode, and it highlights the, uh, subject, and then the rest goes a little more blurry, and it's a little like what we're doing together in this practice that I add. It's an inquiry practice, you might call it, but um, it's giving name to what we're experiencing right now, and it's doing so from a meditative place, doing so slowly and by attending in a felt sense to all parts of our being, to our physical, to our emotional, to our mental, to our um, uh, energetic. So I'll say more about it. We'll do some of that practice as we've been doing the last couple weeks, in addition to our movement and our quiet, silent, still sitting. So hopefully by now you've gathered what you need, given the kind of day today as it's going from cold to hot here. I'm already much warmer, so I've prepared by having layers. And as we are more still, it could get cooler, so my layers are right here available for me if I need them. So arriving, how do we know that we're right here? You might be adjusting as I am in these next few minutes or moments, and drawing attention into our center, so to speak, drawing attention here into our center, or anchoring ourself in our attentiveness, which can be its object can be in, out, and of course super helpful as we begin to arrive to sense gravity, sense how we feel gravity, even as we move, as I'm moving a little, adjusting things here. And as we sit, there might be small movements we make to get more and more um, steady and balanced and comfortable in this spot. So gravity, kind of, it's helpful to surrender to it almost a little bit more dramatically. So if you we have this idea of if you're sitting and you might be sitting or laying down or even standing, that we need to have our especially for these practices that our posture should be upright. But it's really helpful before that to feel the gravitational pull, to make that first, and even bow to it, even get in a way that you really feel the downward pull, the downward weightiness of your body, and register that, how you sense it in your skin, in your bones, in the parts that touch surfaces below you. For me, the carpet, the floor, the cushions, the folded blanket under my hips. And then the uprightness can grow out of that rootedness, that downward pull, the opposite buoyancy becomes easier and easier when that foundation is set. And we begin to notice our breath as we bring our attention to what's just right here and now. And with breathing, which is always here for us, we just need to attend and notice. Breath may be of a certain duration. You may feel it more in some places in your body than in others. There's nothing you need to do with it. However, you can engage in the breath. You can make it a little longer or deeper, you can shorten it, and we can watch for the pauses that occur at the end of the inhale and at the end of the exhale. And as we're gathering these uh, several pointers to attend to, the gravity, our feel of our body and space, the vertical space, the breath. We're just openly feeling and listening for the changes, the constant newness, the constant. Some things may be the same, but there's always more and something new and fresh to pay attention to. So ground, breath, which we'll come back to in more detail. And then the third pointer that I use for centering is sound. And just as I say that, you may have noticed how you open to that, open and get connected with. For me, I'm hearing the fan of our um, ventilation system in the distance, kind of beyond my earbuds. I hear birds, I hear the quiet. Notice what you're hearing, and in your mind, you're likely labeling it. There's might be just the experience that is prior to the label. And very often we're already labeling, we're already naming. Oh, and you can use these 3 pointers anytime in our practice to come back to get you to presence when you're feeling distracted or feel like you're in a mind storm. I'd like to share a practice that I often use, and you can use this really on the fly. It's a the movement will be in our hands and observing our breath. So we can use our hands, the fingers actually, the segments of our fingers as a sort of abacus. I'm going to come a little closer so it's well shown. I usually use my right hand, but you can use both actually. So as we count our breaths, we'll count after the when we have the pause and the end of the exhale. So you have the inhale, pause, exhale, pause. That's one full cycle of breath. And once you complete that at the pause after the exhale, I just place my thumb. I'll have my hand on my lap, but I'll just place my thumb on that first segment at the base of the index finger. And the path we're going to take is going up across the tips, down, across back to the toward the where we started at the base of the index finger, then up the middle finger and to the fourth finger, ring finger. And those are 12 segments. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's actually kind of a spiral if you draw it. So hopefully that's clear. 1 is here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So, oops, hard to do this watching there. There. And if you don't quite get it, don't worry. I'll try to narrate it as we go as well. So back to our arriving position, and we'll count 12 of these breaths together, or maybe just 6. Let's see what time is. Maybe about 12. Yeah. So settle again if you've unsettled like I sort of have. Locate the breath and just observe it with a kindness, with not a forgiving of yourself as you judge yourself. And when you're ready, begin. You don't have to do anything special with the breath, but let's at least note the transition, if not a pause. Breath in, pause, breath out, and then thumb to the base of the index finger on the second round. After the second one, at the pause after the exhale, you'll go to the middle of the index finger and to the tip of the index finger. And then you'll go across the top of the tips to the tip of the middle finger, the ring finger, the pinky. Again, you can be doing something with your breath, yet do it in a way that it feels harmonious for your whole being, that it feels easeful, that it feels joyful. From the tip of the pinky, then would go down the pinky to the middle segment, the base. You go across the base back to the base of the fourth finger, then the middle finger, and then you'll come up to the 2 segments in between this circle we've made. When you finish, you can just relax your hands and you can make note of what your experience is now. Perhaps, for example, there might be a feeling of being more centered. And say it out loud to yourself so you hear it. But as you say it, as you hear yourself say it, maybe something occurs that gets more granular, that's like more accurate, perhaps like it's you need to wait to get the more accurate term, or sometimes as it's a gesture. So I'm feeling a gesture more for centered, more like a gesture and a sound, like just smooth here. Doesn't have to really make logical sense. It can be sort of like poetry, but the feel of it, that your expression matches the feel, is so valuable in bringing, like, it's a way to that we know and feel that that which is observed is really seen, felt, heard. So we have these two entities. We have the namer and the named. That feel of the body of my being is the named. And like in the photo with the iris, the droplets of rain on the petals, so clearly defined by the camera's mechanisms. And perhaps one of the greatest values, not just that wonderful value of feeling affirmed, feeling uh, seen, heard, noticed, but that we start to realize that identity of ourself as the namer, as that constant that witnesses all, that is always present and is the source of all, never changes as even all the details and granularity changes. And let's slide right into our meditation about about a 9-minute meditation today. Not sure how the bell will sound with the devices. We'll see. Sometimes it works better when there's some voice involved. And make any last minute adjustments so that you are ready for the stillness. You set up the support. And I'll start us off with a poem, one of my favorites, called Spring Blessing. One day you wake up able to name the weight you've been carrying, realizing it's not a part of your body or being, not essential in any way to journeying or joy. One day you wake up able to name the weight you've been carrying, realizing it's not a part of your body or being, not essential in any way to journeying or joy. You set it down gently, without fanfare, in the long, soft grass at the side of the road. and walk on, surprised to find yourself smiling in the warm sun for no particular reason at all. Ground breath sound is here to support us as we support each other, as we're simply sitting and breathing. Really, that's all the instruction that is here needed, and yet helpful to know we can be oriented toward relaxation, relaxed attention, relaxing any tension that we discover, toward joy, to allowing everything to be as it is. Just openly, gently receiving very, very yin, and yet our receptiveness is a openness to the whole spectrum, yin yang. Perhaps even sensing through a video, through a form that we may not even feel that we're actually together, but to sense our support of each other in this practice. We're not alone. things, experiences that you might label as distractions or failure of meditation um, arise. Perhaps you might be gentle with yourself, forgiving, and go zoom out a bit to allow it to just be one part of a much more vast experience. Few more breaths together in this practice of sitting silent and still. And before we completely finish this meditation practice, we'll add in a little dose of that practice of inquiry, the focusing, it's called. And so before we transition, just notice what might be arising that is maybe important to you. Maybe you have a question that's gnawing at you. Maybe it's just to name what a sensation is. It can be as simple and prosaic as I'm going to attend to the kind of feel in my hips that's tightened up a little and give that an accurate name. Poetic, accurate naming or gesturing to name it or sound. Make it, and once you name it, check that that is the best name for now. And perhaps place it in a phrasing of, I am noticing, whatever that is. As that gives us that bit of space to notice there's something different between the object and the namer, the named and the namer. Thank you for joining me. That practice, the silence and stillness complements the naming, focusing practice as it helps us to get really more and more clear. Again, we need to slow down. The mind is very fast, but to really pick up on all the sensations and all the information and that our cells have stored for us, we really benefit from slowing down to get accurate there. And again, one of the benefits is this laying down, as the poem said, you one day you wake up able to name the weight you've been carrying. realizing it's not a part of your body or being, not essential in any way to journeying or joy. And that feels so freeing, right? To hear, like naming down that thing you've carried that's been difficult. But we can also name, as we've been doing here today, anything. We name the pleasant things, we name all of it so that we're welcoming and recognizing every bit of creation. And maybe most importantly, we're recognizing that part of ourself that is always witnessing all. Thank you so much. Thanks for leaving a text, Mary Beth, a little chat rather, and enjoy your week. I look forward to practicing with you here again soon. Check out again our Sun and Moon Studio offerings. Ciao, ciao.